I know I don't post a whole lot of Mortal Kombat content on this channel, since you notice it's mainly like Street Fighter. I do really love Mortal Kombat, so I figured I'd make a little video on what I think the next Mortal Kombat needs in order to be successful. These are just my opinions and kind of a wish list in a way. Again, it doesn't have to be the next Mortal Kombat game, but most of these points are pointed at Mortal Kombat. So without further ado, let's just jump onto the video. Now, this feature is probably the most important feature that any future NRS game needs, specifically Mortal Kombat, and that's crossplay. Mortal Kombat 1 and MK11 launched with no crossplay, albeit MK11 was pretty successful, but Mortal Kombat 1 didn't have crossplay at launch, and I feel like that's where the majority of their sales didn't go, is because there was just no way to matchmake with other players on different consoles. So you kind of just got matched up with a lot of the same people, and a lot of people just didn't really like that. And crossplay at launch for any fighting game in 2025 and going forward is a much needed feature, because it's just like the standardization of rollback now. Crossplay is mandatory, so this is kind of what needs. This is definitely a need for the next MK game. Next is a better launch roster. They didn't really do very well with the 3D MK characters. That's just my opinion. It's cool they included them, but MK1 was just pretty limited. They didn't have a lot of moves or like special moves. So you kind of just saw a lot of the same things in terms of like strings. So with that being said, they need to keep OG characters like Jax, Sonya, and Kano in the main roster, and then maybe add in 3D era characters or whomever in DLC. Of course, they can include some like new original characters like they have with MK11 with like the Collector and others. They really just need to keep the roster samey, but you know, just include one or two new characters and then include other characters from different MK games as DLC. Number 3 is better testing before launch and making the PC port in-house, because if you don't know NRS, they will hire a different studio to make their PC ports, and it just ends up being kind of bad. And to go back on the better testing, MK1 launched with a lot of bugs. They were very like weird visual glitches, especially with like brutalities, and yeah, it was just terrible. So they need to take more time with their games, but then again, this is all kind of WB's fault. They like to rush games out willy-nilly, kind of like, this is why people call Mortal Kombat the Call of Duty of fighting games, because they come out so often, whereas games like Street Fighter and Tekken, they come out every 6 or 7 years or so, and in that time the next game has more development time. So that's what MK needs for sure, is just more time to develop. So my next thing is give characters more strings and tools. I like the way MKX did it, despite it having a variation system. Each variation had a pretty good amount of strings and special moves. They kept a lot of like universal strings in all of the variations, but then they'd add some new strings in each variation. Honestly, each character felt complete in MKX. MK1, even though there is no variation, they still feel very limited. They need to give more characters more normals, strings. What I like what Tekken does is they keep a lot of the same strings for each character, but then they add on to them as each Tekken goes on, each sequel. So if Mortal Kombat had a foundation instead of switching up every, every time, that would be a lot better for the franchise, honestly. And quit swapping out old moves like Bicycle Kick, Sonya's Arch Kick or Kiss of Death move, where she like does the kiss and stuns you. Keep those moves. Stop replacing them with like new moves. That's what I'm saying. They need to build on top of the characters, keep OG moves and then add new moves later on. Now, this next one isn't really much of a need, but it would be really cool to have in an NRS game, and that's a 2XKO or Street Fighter 6 lobby system where you can run around and interact with other people, talk to them. I like the way I like the way they both do it, Street Fighter 6 and 2XKO, where you can go on cabs and play people. In 2XKO, you're in the lobby and literally all you have to do is press one button to find a match, and it'll take a few seconds sometimes it's instantaneous. You'll find a match, but I really like the way that Riot and Capcom did their lobby systems for their game, and I wish NRS would kind of do the same. People might call it copying, but you know, devs take inspiration from others, and that's all it is. Now, this is more for the casuals, but I think a lot of the hardcore players would still enjoy things like this. But it's more game modes such as test your might, test your sight, luck, and other mini games like you know, motor combat, chess combat, stuff like that. We just need more casual game modes in Mortal Kombat. They kind of just been focused on the competitive aspect the past 10 years, I want to say. Well, longer than that, actually. Ever since NRS kind of was created. MK9 was pretty creative. They had a lot of good game modes and stuff for that. But after that, it's just like the games were bland. It was just all online or, you know, just fighting with other people. We need more casual game modes for people to enjoy, you know, to get that break away from the competitive aspect. Now, this next one I think kind of goes hand in hand with the game modes, but I think combat codes really need to make a comeback. We haven't seen them since MK3. Was it Armageddon? I think they had them in Armageddon, but MK3 is what started them. So the way I think they could implement it is maybe just keep them in casual modes. But then I was thinking, like, what if you just kept them in ranked and then two people just happened to do a combat code and it made that ranked match drastically different compared to what would have happened if no combat codes would have happened. But then that would be RNG in a competitive environment. So probably keeping them in the casual game modes is the best. But yeah, combat codes, bring them back, please. They just made the game more unique and more fun. Now, NRS can definitely do this. They are a multi-million-dollar company, no joke, even without WB, but they need to upgrade their server infrastructure. Yes, they do have rollback, but sometimes it can be iffy. But if they had dedicated servers like the way Riot does with each of their games, League of Legends, Valorant, and 2XKO, it would run a lot better and people from across the country would be able to play each other. I noticed in like MK1 when I played it, if you happen to match up against someone from the East Coast, it would be like 100 milliseconds or maybe like 80 or 90 milliseconds. So I get that's what the rollback is for, but just having a better dedicated server system or just server infrastructure in general would be a lot better. Because MK they don't do very well when they come out, so they need to upgrade their game in a lot of ways, and this is one of them. And this last thing I think would make the game sell a lot more, because this is like mainly for the casuals, would be bring all the finishers back. Bring the animalities, the brutalities, the stage fatalities, friendships and babalities, maybe even a new one, but having a new one would probably just be a little too much extra work. So if they could just bring all of the originals back, that would make the casuals maybe play a lot more because there'd be more of a variety of finishers. I noticed with each MK game they'll swap one out for the other, like MK1 didn't have babalities or friendships, but they brought back animalities. So having more finishers would definitely help the game sell and have more people play it in general. But that's it for this video. These are kind of what I would like to see in the next MK game. And what I think would help it in terms of selling better and having more people play it. Yeah, MK just hasn't been doing very well the past, 4 years. MK11 did sell well, but it did get a lot of gripes and people didn't like it. And MK1 just straight up didn't sell all that well. It sold less than MK11, absolutely. They were only at like 6 mils sales. So yeah, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, click like and consider subscribing for more content like this. I'm still gonna make guides. I just like to make videos like this while I wait for stuff I can make guides on. So this is Darkson signing out, and I hope you take care.